All right. We are live, I guess. We're waiting on Andrew to show up. Yeah. In the meantime, we're getting the podcast set up. Just making sure everything is up and running functionally. All right. So yeah, I guess after I need some water. There we go. All right. How's that? Is that better? Is that better at all? I don't know. Hmm. There. Okay. We have that running. Hopefully that looks a little better. There we go. Okay. A little bit of that. Yes, sir. Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
Yeah, so my background didn't fix itself like I thought it would,
Ooh,
but that's all right. We're getting there.
it do be like that.
Yeah.
Jake, what if we become wildly successful as podcasters?
Dude, honestly, like,
All just because I did want like this is an easy thing I can do for my class.
you know what? I'd buy it. I'd buy it. All right.
The next Joe Rogan.
The next Joe Rogan podcast. We're gonna make sure that that's not the title.
Oh,
Yeah. For those two of you viewing so far, we'll get the screen up and running quick. We just gotta make sure that things are showing the way that I want it to, because it's not doing that at the moment. Yeah.
does your ceiling look like a van I would draw as a child?
It really does look like that. Yeah, it looks like an old like mom van of some kind. Yeah, it happens. All right. I believe that is about everything that I want to do for this, other than just gonna take the time stamp off this and get like my other stuff off it. Um, where do I hide the time? I found it earlier, but now I can't find it. There we go. All right, we are about ready to go.
Cool. Is there a chair I can pull up?
Uh, Yeah, we have one from out there that we can do. Um. All right. All right. Close out of that. Just quickly add our screen capture. I was not super prepared for this, and I apologize.
All good.
All right. We can shut the door too. While we're here. Do you need any water? Can I grab you anything?
No, I'm good.
All right. Sounds good. So, I don't really know what you wanted to call this podcast. So, I ended up naming it. Hold on, what did I end up naming it?
It's a good question.
Yeah. I think I called it like the podcast, a podcast about stuff.
Makes sense.
I mean, that's really just kind of our entire mantra with this podcast, at least from what I recall us discussing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. A podcast, the podcast about stuff. Yeah.
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 Oh man, this is gonna be a great podcast. I can already tell.
It's gonna be the best.
Yeah, I can agree.
Jake, and you're recording this, right?
Yeah, this does record, so this will end up saving to my clips. So I believe it's in our content here, yeah. So it's broadcasting right now.
Spicy.
Yeah. I guess that's what we have to work with at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see if I can refresh this. That's not updating, but that's okay. All right. So, in a podcast, the podcast about stuff.
Yes.
What is our subject that you want to bring to the table today?
Our hot dogs, sandwiches.
Our hot dog sandwiches. All right. So,
I want to hear your take on this.
my take on it is I really don't think hot dogs are sandwiches, because my reasoning is like you got a bun basically, or like a piece of bread.
Okay.
Now I understand you can cut it down the middle and like open it up and have like two separate pieces of bread, or you can just open it up, just a little bit and put the hot dog in there. I guess my overall thing that I guess I just have to disagree with is that like with the idea that it's a sandwich is like bread would need to be like on top and on the bottom, and it's eaten in that orientation, and it's held in that orientation.
Okay. My take, I think hot dogs are sandwiches.
They are sandwiches.
They are, in fact, sandwiches.
All right. What's your reasoning behind it?
One, it has bread,
Okay.
and it has a food product in the middle,
Okay.
and it functions as a sandwich. Like, would you tell me a sub is not a sandwich?
Well,
That's one piece of bread.
It
just
is.
cut down, middle.
But also at the same time, would you consider a bread bowl, like you know those bread bowls where it's like a bowl, it's a bowl with bread,
Yeah.
and you got soup on the inside, and then you can put like bread on top, or you have the top of the bread open and you eat the contents out with a spoon, then would that be a sandwich?
No, because that's more of a soup.
But all the contents are held within the member of the bread.
I see that, like, I see foods, they can be broken down into three. The food triangle, if you will.
Okay, food triangle. So like
Sandwiches.
Yep.
Soups and salads.
Okay. I'm reading you.
And, well, that just falls too much in the category of it's a soup. It's kind of like... How should I describe this? Like...
I don't know. This is your point that you're trying to make.
Yeah, I know. Its primary ingredient is liquid.
Okay.
So it's more of a soup than a sandwich. It's
Okay.
like, would you consider, like, if you had, like, two, like, croissants and then a big piece of lettuce in the middle, would you consider that a sandwich?
I don't think I would.
Because
Well,
that's
two
it's
croissants.
technically bread.
Wait, okay, so you said two croissants,
No, not croissants. What are the tiny little square things that go on salads?
Oh, croutons.
Croutons.
Okay, so like two croutons, and you put a piece of lettuce in between?
Yeah. Would that be a sandwich?
Well, I mean, one could argue that it is a sandwich because it's, two
Yeah.
pieces of bread with ingredient in the middle.
Yeah.
But out of practicality, I just don't think that's a practical, it's just not a practical, like, as functionality of like what you would receive from a sandwich is not a sandwich.
I feel like the biggest thing with a bread bowl is it's a bowl. It's not. It's an edible bowl you're eating out of.
Well, yeah,
It's like a calzone.
but I mean, would a calzone be considered a sandwich? Because the ingredients are mostly dry. They're physical. They're not liquid, or they're solid rather than liquid, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. Well,
I
what's
just
your
need
take
more
on that.
Like, can you just repeat what you said?
Yeah. So it's like with a calzone, you have, or like, let's say a pizza calzone, for example. You have all the ingredients of pizza. You got your cheese, your pepperoni, your sausage, and whatever else weird people like to put on their pizzas, You have that all in there. And they, like, I guess from a physical, like, observation is that they're generally comprised of solids that are wetted by some sauce of some kind. So, I mean, I would consider that a sandwich. I mean, more specifically a calzone, but I feel like a calzone would kind of fall under the subdivision of a sandwich.
Okay, that's also different than an edible bowl.
Well, it could be. I mean, it would just be the orientation of the bowl then, correct?
But it'd also be like if you're eating a plate.
You don't eat your plates when you're done?
I don't want my plates. Bad things happen.
Really?
Well, most of it comes out, but we don't worry about it.
Alright. So with the hot dog.
Hot dog. I think it's a sandwich. Look at meatball sub.
But that's a sub.
Are subs not sandwiches?
Subs aren't always sandwiches. Well, why don't you just have what makes a meatball sub different from a sausage sub? Where the hot dog is considered a sausage because it's made in the same way. So why not just a sausage sub?
Because it's slightly shorter.
Well, I get told that too, but here we are.
Hold on. It's just, how should I describe this? I don't know. It's just a sandwich. Like, it's meat product that, well, is often thick. Hot dogs are, well, they're not like traditional like deli meats, like, thin slices of meat.
Sure.
Like meatballs, they're not thin slices of meat. And most subs are sandwich. Like, what kind of sub wouldn't be a sandwich?
A meatball sub.
Why?
Because it's not comprised of deli meats, of thinly sliced meat on top of with cheeses and other goods.
Well, let me ask you this: what makes a sandwich? So you have lettuce wrap sandwiches, which use lettuce as the type of bread.
Well, perhaps we've just hit the foundation of where our answer is going to come from. Is how we define a sandwich.
What is a sandwich?
Yeah. So how would you define a sandwich?
It's very difficult because you can't just say meat or cheese products because peanut butter and jelly sandwich, easily one of the most famous sandwiches ever.
Sure, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree that is a sandwich.
That is definitely a sandwich.
Alright, so what are the elements of that sandwich that make it a sandwich?
Bread, but there's also lettuce wrap sandwiches.
Okay. So maybe we think a little bit deeper than what I guess is the containing ingredient. You know, where you have bread that contains the peanut butter and jelly, but what if you decided to let the lettuce contain the peanut butter and jelly? You know what
Lettuce wrap peanut butter and jelly.
I mean?
Oh, I don't like that idea.
I think that's a great idea.
So it needs to have some sort of container you can hold on with your hands.
Okay.
All sandwiches involve a container that you hold with your hands that is edible.
Okay, a container that you can hold with your hands
That holds the in between.
that holds in between. Are we talking like a specific orientation, or are we talking?
Well, once again, you have like if you go to Subway, like those subs are sandwiches.
Yeah, but do you think someone holds their sub? I know this is gonna sound really weird, but like you know how you have your sub where the slice is parallel to the ground. You think there's people who like
Turn
Hey,
it sideways.
no, like not like sideways, like they're holding like one end of the sub on each side, but instead like rotate it so that it's like the opening of the bread is pointing straight up rather than pointing straight like out to the side.
Yes, I know a few people like that because they don't.
Why do you know people who?
Because they get as much as stuff as possible in their sandwich, and it's literally threatening just to all fall out at once.
But no, but then you just like pinch the sides harder, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But what about the inside for a sandwich? Because you have there's no consistent insides for a sandwich.
Yeah,
There's meat, dairy, jellies, cheese, everything. Literally, you can put anything on a sandwich.
I know, and
That's why it's so difficult.
yeah. So I guess I don't know exactly, because it can be seen both ways. Well, let's talk about what a sandwich is not.
Well, we know it has to be held with your hands, and it
Okay.
has to be edible.
Well, what about those what am I thinking of? They're these sandwiches, they're kind of like Philly cheesesteaks, but the bread is so saturated with au jus that like the eating style is to like just basically cut it and eat it like a goulash of some kind. You know, like you take like the bread and it's like you basically take the sandwich and you like saturate it with a sauce or with like a seasoning of some kind to the point where holding it is unconventional. So you eat it with like a fork and knife.
But you said it was like a goulash.
Well, you eat it like a goulash, but it still has like the structure of a sandwich. It just doesn't have the easily edible mechanic.
I'm glad you asked what isn't a sandwich instead of just falling into confirmation bias.
Yes, thank you.
Big.
That yes. No, because we the is a hot dog a sandwich conversation has gone on for much longer than I would have liked it to. I guess like just in like culture in itself, you
Yeah.
know. And it really comes down to that confirmation bias and just overall that just kind of well, I'm right, you're wrong. We're trying
Yeah.
to find this middle ground and find an actual answer to
Yeah. Well, like, what is the sandwich?
that. Yeah.
Because like, with what you just said, and like what we figured out earlier, like tacos could be considered sandwiches.
Yeah, they could because it's bread. Quesadillas could be sandwiches too then.
Because there's also open faced sandwiches.
Yeah. I
Which
mean,
meant pizzas could be sandwiches. Which goes down a whole nother rabbit hole.
which, oh dear.
It all fits on the food triangle.
Yeah, so.
sandwich.
Oh no. But like, I don't know about you, but like with my grilled cheese sandwiches, I like to dip them in my tomato soup,
yeah.
which
Would does being structurally sound quantify as a sandwich?
yeah, I guess that's kind of the question. I mean, if it's not structurally sound, you can't pick it up and eat it. Doesn't that kind of destroy the nuance of the sandwich?
I think so. But you also have you have to at least be able to consume it all. You don't have to.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean,
Like
sometimes,
for the goulash sandwich.
yeah,
You can eat it all, but you don't have to, and it's not typically like associated with culture.
yeah, and I mean, I think my history's a little flawed. I saw this on AMC when I was like 12, so like 8 years ago. Um, it was like this like history of sliced bread, and the one thing that really happened is that this guy had this brilliant idea to take a loaf of bread, and instead of like taking chunks off and dipping it in his soup, he instead would cut it up into slices, put stuff in between, and eat it. And I think he kind of dubbed the term the sandwich from there.
And I'm just assuming throughout history it's just slowly grown
Yeah,
as in what can count as a sandwich.
yeah.
I feel like we're just gotten to the point where anything can be a sandwich.
I mean we're kind of reaching that critical mass of if you want to go by its original, I guess, foundation of how it originated, the anything I guess in conventional culture could be considered a sandwich. Tacos, pizzas,
Burritos.
burritos,
Probably not a salad.
unless you have the croutons on the bottom.
And the topping. Do we agree that we have to use our hands to eat it though?
I think that is
I think that's one of the things.
I think that's one thing that we could probably agree on.
Yeah. Which is I think the biggest thing that can
Hold on, let's use our resource here. Pull up a tab quick. Sandwiches near me? Oh yes, please. Eaten without hands. All right. Those are some Swedish beers. Okay. Okay, so like in some cultures like Sweden, it looks like that, or just from what I read, is that they would sandwiches would be served with a beer and then a fork and a knife. So they'd be given a sandwich of some kind and they would eat it with a fork and knife. Which I think like with toast, eating like having your ingredients squished between toast, like a fork and knife definitely seems very conventional for that
Yeah.
kind of food. Um, However, once again, that's sweet. Okay, so now we have to ask: Are we focused in American culture, like all cultures around the world, or because it's gonna have to be one or the other. I feel.
Is it just Sweden? Like
That was the first result that showed up. Just kind of like a Swedish style of like sandwich and beer.
maybe. I'm thinking like gen- generally I feel like most people at least all around don't use a knife and fork for well, I can see the knife if you want to cut your sandwich in half.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
like my mom orders like a half-pound burger.
Yeah.
She cuts it up in half and eats only a quarter pound of it. And it's like I understand that. Like I can barely eat a half-pound burger.
I can understand that.
But once again, that burger is then eaten with their hands afterwards.
Yeah.
I think for the sake of this argument, we need to establish at least a baseline that anything that we want to consider a sandwich has to be eaten with your hands.
Yeah.
I guess with the kind of like partial conditional statement with like obviously like it's possible to be eaten with silverware, but
That can be said about most things.
mm, but I can say its design is optimal for eating with your hands.
Yeah, it's all contained in one like packet source.
One package, yeah.
Yeah, one package.
Yeah. All right. So if we go strictly off of that, then we could say that a hot dog is a sandwich. But then we could also say a taco is a sandwich, a soup bread bowl is a sandwich.
We could say hot dog's not a conventional sandwich. As when most people picture a sandwich, they think of like a BLT or a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
It's not a conventional sandwich.
correct. All right. I like that idea.
Like a whole list of foods and where they go.
Yeah, have like a massive spreadsheet of just what like subdivision of sandwich is it? You know.
Yeah.
However, I'm still kind of stuck with the bread bowl because you can't hold it with your hands. I've been given a bread bowl full of soup and I've held in one hand and ate out of it with the other hand with a spoon. So,
I think it's the primary thing is that it's primarily like liquid, like if it's a soup
yeah,
or like chowder or something like that.
sure. Now, I guess would we say that there was a specific proportion of like liquid to solid that there needs to be? Because if you have something completely dry, it's like biting into dust. But
Yeah.
you have to have it wet to some degree
Yeah.
without it being water in a water healthy
Yeah.
bread.
I think the problem with the bread bowl is that most of the time it comes down to silverware.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's
I guess the necessity of silverware.
yeah. It essentially requires. Well, I guess you could just pick up the bowl and drink straight from it, but that's a little
Unconventional.
bit of a social gap.
Yeah. And definitely I know for a fact that if I went to a restaurant, ordered a bread bowl, picked up the bowl and just started drinking from it, I would get weird looks, not only from like the people working there, but like really anyone in my general vicinity.
Everyone like, why is he drinking?
Why is he drinking the bread? The bread bowl. And I can promise you that I'm not going to grab the bread bowl and just take a bite out of the side. It'd be like poking a hole in one of those Philip like those pools had back when we were little.
I guess I think it comes down to like how it's like primarily like eaten or consumed.
Yeah. So
So like, you can have a lettuce wrap sandwich, but you can have a lettuce where just a salad where you eat with a fork and
yeah. So okay, so now we run into that error, or not that error, but just kind of that gray area with lettuce. So let's say I take my fork, right? And I stick it into my salad, and now I have lettuce, a tomato, and another lettuce. Does that make it a sandwich?
I want to say no because you're using silverware for it.
Now, but what happens when I pinch the lettuce and the lettuce, holding the tomato, take it off my fork, and eat it like a sandwich?
I think it's just there's how much material do you need in the middle? Because like if it's like a little cherry tomato, like
But does that matter? Because some people like having their peanut butter really thin and their jelly really thin on their PB&Js,
yeah,
So the quantity of material I don't really think makes a difference when it comes to like what is and isn't a sandwich. But I think like the overall absence of a center would.
because I'm imaging you've probably seen that one episode of SpongeBob where he's like the salads.
Oh
Where
yeah,
it's a singular layer of lettuce and a tomato.
yeah.
And
Would that be considered an open faced sandwich?
maybe I don't know if that's a salad or that's like in the gray area.
Yeah, like I definitely feel like it's something that can be argued
Either way.
either way, really, because if we're talking about an open faced sandwich, because we define the sandwich as something you hold with your hands, or like a something you eat that can be held with your hands,
Yeah.
contained between one or two uh like
Edible.
edible,
Where the
edible
entire thing's
container.
edible.
Yeah, the entire thing's edible.
Being able to hold it without horribly spilling on yourself.
True. Yeah, I guess we in our original thesis, if you will, we only considered closed face sandwiches, but not open face sandwiches.
Yeah. Should definitely change a lot of things.
Yeah, that definitely changes the overall like idea of what of how we define it. Okay.
So what are the main subsections of sandwiches we got?
Okay.
We have traditional sandwiches,
Okay, well, what's a traditional sandwich?
like either bread or lettuce, like 2 slices of bread,
And ingredients in the
and
middle?
ingredients in the middle, like it could be peanut butter and jelly, tuna fish, egg salad,
Sure, sure.
so on and so forth. Traditional sandwich. Then you have open face sandwiches, open hand,
Yep.
whatever you want to call
Open face,
it, open
yeah.
face, where you got one slice and it's just almost like flash or whatever,
Yeah.
with all the ingredients on top.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you have yeah, wraps. Isn't that where the whole thing's like wrapped up?
Yeah.
So that would like encompass like
So that's basically like taking like a open face sandwich,
yeah.
and then taking its shell and basically rolling it up.
So that'd be like burritos, calzones, Pop Tarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how are Pop Tarts manufactured now? That's if I don't know if we want to go that far down into the rabbit hole. Personally, I don't, because I know that we can get into like toaster strudels, Twinkies, like we can really dig down deep into the bowels of manufactured goods and whether or not they're sandwiches.
Yeah. Then I would say folded type sandwiches, which is just one slice where it's folded. Well, that'd be like your subs, the hot dog.
Folded or rolled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tacos. But there's still openings.
Yeah.
It's not totally encompassed by the bread.
Okay. All right. So I guess the subdivisions for a sandwich then would be two-sided, open-faced, folded and rolled.
Yes, I think so. I'm hoping I'm not forgetting any.
Because my rationale for that is closed face would be like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like
Yeah.
your conventional PB and J.
Yeah.
An open face would be like bread, cheese, and then like summer sausage.
Like pizza.
Yeah. Like pizza. And then folded would be like your quesadillas that you wanted to do, or like your tacos.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like that. Your subs, your hot dogs.
Yeah.
The hot dogs
Yeah.
would fall into that subdivision. And then also then your rolls stuff. So like your burritos, your
Wraps.
wraps and stuff like that.
Yeah. The other things in the rabbit hole.
The other things down the rabbit hole. I think we could maybe exclude that. That if the container is rolled in a fashion to contain it, we could maybe exclude it from a sandwich. I mean, I don't want to gatekeep the wraps from the glory of a sandwich, but if it doesn't fit the bid, it doesn't fit the bid, you know?
Like, all of them have like things in their subsections which could be easily argued as a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like the wraps and But they also fit in the criteria of a container that's edible that you hold.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's true. But also, one could make the argument that anything that we fold is just in the process of being rolled.
Yeah. So we could just put them underneath the folded.
The folded and rolled,
Yeah.
because that's proper English.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So open face, closed face, fold and roll,
Yeah.
or fold/roll.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So
is a hot dog a sandwich?
I want to say yes.
What if I said no right here?
I'd understand.
Would you?
Yeah, because it's not a traditional sandwich. When people think of sandwiches, it's not what they typically think of.
Okay.
But also, a lot of things we've talked about and a lot of the things we've gone over could be considered sandwiches.
Okay. So that means, do we want to break the idea of a sandwich up into two groups, traditional and non-traditional, or traditional and non?
I think that's like the big main divider. Like, traditionally, because that'd be your two-sided sandwiches. That's what typically people think of. Like,
Yeah, they think of like
the two slices. Like,
the two slices, because I remember going where was I? I was out of town somewhere. I went to some restaurant and I ordered a sandwich. It was like, oh yeah, this is just like a egg ham and cheese sandwich. So I ordered it. It sounded delicious, and it was relatively cheap. I didn't have a lot of money, and they came with an open faced sandwich, and I looked at the sandwich and I was just, wow, I am missing a piece of bread. I wasn't. I later came to find. I can't English. Later came to find out.
yeah, it's just people don't traditionally think of open-faced sandwiches or stuff like that as sandwiches.
Yeah. All right. So I guess then in that case we can I guess come to the agreement. Hopefully,
Hopefully.
because I'm willing to set my agreement here, is that hot dogs are a unconventional or non-traditional sandwich.
Yes.
However, it is not well, yeah, it's not traditional.
Yeah.
A hot dog is a sandwich, non-traditional.
Yeah.
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 As long as, or if you're willing to agree with that,
I agree with that.
all right. Well, wow. 30, we'll say 38 minutes.
Talking about
Talking about, is a hot dog a sandwich?
we have to constitute what was a sandwich.
Yeah.
Before we could figure out any of the rest.
Yeah, so first we set our initial ideas. My initial idea was that a hot dog was not a sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, and your idea was that it was. And I definitely know I was very against like just even fathoming the idea that a hot dog was a sandwich. But sorry, I'm tired.
So it's all good.
I've been up since 4 this morning.
Oof.
It is late o'clock here. Yeah, it's a little, well, it's probably 6:40 right about now, based on the stream schedule. But yeah. Then we decided that we can break up the sandwich into two subdivisions. Traditional sandwiches and non-traditional sandwiches. Traditional being your typical two-sided or two breaded or contained sides for a sandwich. I guess I'm gonna leave this one up to your jurisdiction. Would you consider a open-faced sandwich a traditional sandwich?
I'm gonna say no because like whenever I think of sandwich or just I could be totally wrong, but most people I know, whenever they think of a sandwich, they think of two slices of bread that they hold
Sure.
with like both hands.
Okay. Okay. So we'll call it non-traditional then. All right.
All right.
Well, do you have any other things you'd like to discuss? This is. I'm opening the mic, opening the floor.
Not yet.
Chad, do we have any ideas coming from you guys?
Yeah.
What does the chat have to say? Oh, and also, side note, by the way, that thing you see in the top right-hand corner, that is a tic-tac-toe game. What you'll do, or all you have to do, is type in TIC. What is pizza? Oh, jeez.
I thought we went over this. I thought it was an open face sandwich.
Yeah, we discussed that pizza was an open-faced sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least. I don't know. My logic, I'm going off the food triangle of a soup, salad, and sandwich. Where anything can be divided into those four
Soup,
categories.
salad, and sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, we're entertaining you during the lab. That is perfect because who needs class really? I mean, my classes today, I paid attention, but I gained nothing.
I don't pay attention. I gain nothing.
All right, well, you know what? I don't want to hear it from you. But no, what I was going on about, if I can find my mouse, this tic-tac-toe board here, if I can fix it. Type in TIC.
Consider something traveling through a nozzle at the speed of sound.
Oh, consider something through nozzle at the speed of sound. All right. So TIC 1 through 9, you'll be playing with an AI, and these numbers are listed 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 9. Yeah. So I mean, I can go like TIC 1, and I believe it should, at some point, because there's delay, put an X there, and then time to respond on the next play.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So feel free to have some fun with that if you're looking for something to do while we're running this podcast. Have I talked to you about the Supersonic Cup?
Supersonic cup.
And when I mean supersonic, I mean 20 quintillion times the speed of light cup.
Is this like the pebble?
This is kind of like the Pebble.
Okay.
All right. So the one thing with the Pebble is that we discussed it's kind of a physics concept of engineering where your mass times your velocity in a inelastic collision is equivalent to your new mass and your new velocity. It's directly proportional. So we talked about that, and we found out that you would have to shoot a 15-gram pebble at Mach 5 to hit a 750-kilogram car, assuming no structural damage. And then from there, it would move about 3 meters per second. So, what we ended up finding out was that, or well, I guess this was in conversation. I wanted to know how fast you could take one of those cups that they have at the dining centers, you know?
Yeah.
How fast you would have to shoot that at the earth in order to displace it. You know, displace it a certain velocity.
Yeah.
And so I did some math there and found out, assuming the cup is 1 kilogram.
This is very generous.
That is very generous. Like most of those cups there, I would be surprised if they were a quarter of a kilogram.
Yeah.
So like just super light stuff. And what I ended up doing is I said, okay, well, I want to give the Earth a new velocity of 1 meter per second. Okay? I wanted to displace it in a direction of 1 meter per second. Now on the cosmic scale, that is nothing. So after doing just some proportional math, we found, I found out that you would have to go so fast that you would end up going 20 quintillion times the speed of light. The cup would be going 20 quintillion times the speed of light to hit the Earth to displace it 1 meter per second, assuming there was no structural damage or, complete shredding of the fourth dimension of time. Assuming you don't break space time doing this. So I guess the prompt overall was consider something traveling through a nozzle at the speed of sound. Alright, well. Okay, so that was just kind of the introduction. So there's this prompt. You know what a nozzle is, right?
Kind of.
So imagine a cone where it's open on one side and tapers down to a smaller diameter on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you apply a certain force to that open, wider end of the cone, you're going to get a faster air coming out the other side.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's a steady state, meaning mass in is the same as the mass out per time, or per unit of time. So the neat part is that the harder you push, the faster the velocity is going to go out.
Yep.
Up until you hit the speed of sound for your velocity at your exit velocity. So once you hit the speed of sound, any continuing nozzle is actually going to have a inverse effect, and it's going to slow it down. It's going to slow the mass down. I don't know if you're having a hard time visualizing this or not. I see the gears turning.
Nah, I'm visualizing it.
Right? So that means, the opposite of a nozzle is a diffuser.
Yeah.
So it goes from a small end to like a wide open end. So, assuming that this cup is going at 20 quintillion times the speed of light, and it's shaped as a diffuser, and it's got an open end on one side, and then it's open on the wider other side, would it pick up velocity because you have that mass going in and then that mass going out at the same time?
Yes, I think so.
You think so?
I don't know. Perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm not in physics in a while, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of been hypothetical that I've thought about ever since taking my thermodynamics. Is that it's like this is a possibility to make like a perpetual motion machine. So, assuming that we could get something to go at a steady state faster than the speed of sound.
I think so.
The only problem is I don't know how we would ever harvest that energy. I don't know. This is a weird subject, and it's tough to understand.
Like when I talk about philosophy with people and they look at me like I'm a sociopath.
Yeah, I believe that. All right. Do we have any other topics that we want to discuss? Anything that you would like to go over in this podcast?
Kind of blanking on that right now.
Kind of blanking.
Yeah. What? Do you have any ideas?
Do I have any ideas? Well, tell you what, I'm gonna go get some water quick because my throat's running dry. Do you need some water?
Nah, I'm all right.
All right, that sounds good. You play Tic Tac Toe if you want or something. We'll be right back. All right, Chad, we got.
No.
You
People
are-
are tired of hearing this debate.
Yeah, so we're gonna settle it here. We're gonna get it figured out. We're gonna do exactly what we did with hot dogs. Okay, but I do have one kind of conclusion question for the hot dog. So do you think if you went somewhere and asked for a hot dog sandwich, what would they do?
To me, that's kind of like asking for like an open face sand. Like, I don't. It's hard to describe like a pizza sandwich or like. I feel like they just look at you all confused.
Oh, I'm sure they would. I mean, I'm sure they'd get you your hot dog. I mean, they'd probably spit in your food.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that for certain. Gotta fix this. Hmm. Interesting.
Sure is.
All right. Okay. So, are we ready to move on?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right. So, the next subject that we've been essentially tasked with to figure out is doors versus wheels. he Andrew seems very upset with the matter. I don't blame him because this is going to be awful. That being said, I'm looking forward to it. All right. So why don't you kick this one off? Why don't you tell me what you think?
I think it's an overdone argument, and I think there's more wheels than doors.
All right. Well, he's spoken. Hold on, I'm multitasking right now. That was a stupid idea of me. Let me see. All right, we're just gonna. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, first of all, I think that there are more doors than wheels. Mainly because, I mean, just think about it. Doors. You know?
What do you mean? Think about.
I don't know. I think the biggest thing I guess that we need to at least go over is what we define as wheels and what we define as doors.
Okay. And once again, I'm gonna ask: are we doing traditional wheels and traditional doors, or non-traditional? If you go with non-traditional, that's gonna open up a whole other can of worms.
I think for the sake of this argument and I guess just for the sake of everyone involved, mainly because I don't want to have to go over gears, I don't want to have to go over bearings, I don't want to have to go over like all of the different like subdivisions of wheel, like things that rotate about an axis.
Yeah.
Oh, chat, I don't like that. A wheel can a wheel be a door? Can one wheel be a door, or can a collection of wheels be a door? Maybe that's a bit better of a question.
Maybe like the spinning doors, like you see in hotels. like,
Sure.
just keep rotating.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a wheel in that at the very
True.
top that spins.
Yeah.
Also, would that count as several doors? Because most of the time they have like 4 hang out, or is that just one door?
I don't know. That's something that we need to establish about whether or not,
Yeah.
doors.
Doors.
And then also we need to consider: are we counting trap doors as doors? Are we counting like dressers? Because that was really squeaky. Dressers as doors, and are we counting like baffles like on engines as doors?
Baffles.
Yeah, so like there's like baffles in a carburetor and stuff like that. So basically it'll flap shut and then it will open up, my terminology is really bad. So please forgive me on that. But basically there's these baffles that open and close to let airs in, exhausts out, and other stuff like that.
I think for the sake of right now, let's just go over traditional, like what people traditionally think of doors, or people traditionally think of as wheels.
Okay, so wheels, like to define them as a wheel, it rotates on the ground or some surface to move the center point from one location to the other.
Yes.
So like a skateboard wheel or like a car wheel.
Yeah.
But not like the gear to an engine.
Yeah, because people don't traditionally think of gears as wheels.
Okay. So I mean, for the most part, we can eliminate most vehicles from this argument.
Yeah.
4 doors traditionally, 4 wheels traditionally.
Yeah.
That's also neglecting pulleys,
Yeah. I guess we would have to keep motorcycles and because they don't have any doors.
Yeah, motorcycles have two wheels. So every motorcycle will add 2 wheels. All skateboards will add 4 wheels.
Bikes, tricycles, 4-wheelers,
3-wheelers, ATVs. Some modern ATVs now do have 2 doors. So right now, wheels are definitely in the lead. I think in this kind of.
Sorry, just hearing this guy stink.
Yeah. So I definitely think from a just kind of like from a vehicle perspective, wheels definitely have the lead. But I really think we need to consider like apartment complexes. Because you have a whole bunch of different rooms, and each apartment, I mean you look at the apartment we're in right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doors in here. And I don't see a single wheel. Other than, alright, the wheels on my chairs. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
there's-
Well, those for the sake of our argument.
I know.
Yeah. The wheels that guide wheels. I guess wouldn't count that. Alright, so all the wheels on my chair take out all of those. But how many apartments or houses even would you say don't necessarily have a rolling office chair? Because I know back home, my house, we had zero office chairs. We only had couches and dining room chairs, like rigid chairs.
Just
Is that-
wheels.
Wheels. No continuation.
Just-
No elaboration. Wheels.
So you can roll it, open the door. What? A wheel that is sitting in front of an opening.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. So like if you have like a wheel.
Or like a trapdoor type situation. Like
Yeah.
where you have to rotate the handles.
No, I think she's thinking more like you have a big wheel in a doorway. So that in order to get through the doorway, you have to roll the wheel out of the way. And that's your door. Your door in quotes.
I guess there's no way we're ever gonna know the answer to like how many wheels exist
Yeah,
or how many doors exist.
yeah. But this is all just really like hypothetical mind like thinking. But have we considered all the mailbox doors like at the post office? You know?
Would those be considered doors though?
Well, I guess we haven't really defined a door.
What is a door?
So I would. All right, I'm looking at chat right now, and he said if
Chairs versus markers.
chairs versus markers. All right, well, if we have time, we'll circle back to that. Oh, markers definitely win though.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right, so we got that one out of the way. So like think about like cabinets, you know. Oh wait, no, we were still defining doors. I am sorry. I'm running on a brain cell right now. So you have a door is anything that opens up one area into the other, connected by a hinge or an axle. Because a hinge and an axle are a hinge is comprised of an axle.
Yeah.
So I would say anything comprised of like an axle that separates one area from another. For the purpose of keeping like rooms separated or areas separated.
I suppose. I don't know how else I would describe a door as a thing to prevent access. I don't know.
Yeah,
That makes it even more broad.
I mean, yeah, but access prevention, through method of some material stretched across a span connected to hinges.
Yes.
I think that would maybe make the most sense. But in that case, then you have cabinets, you have microwave doors, oven doors, refrigerators, freezers, post office doors, which we already talked about. And that I mean we've covered that. The thing about I don't want to keep saying think about, but like what about like Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot, you know?
Yeah.
These places that just have tons of doors.
I understand what you're saying.
But the same argument could be made about tires, like Michelin Man.
Or any car dealership.
Or any car dealership.
Because at least in the just purely cars or like semis, like there's more wheels than doors.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely more wheels than cars. I really hope there are more wheels than
You
cars.
never know.
Man, I wonder where all those wheels went. I don't have them. Hopefully. But what about I don't know. All I'm thinking about is Monsters Incorporated when they have all the doors swinging on the little tracks. Think about all those doors that are there. There's so many doors.
That is very true.
However, they're all run off of a pulley system that have wheels for each and every one.
Yeah. I was like, do I want to say that? Do those count as traditional wheels? Maybe. It just makes me think like airport where they have like the big row of wheels where your stuff slides down from, or like Amazon and how they're just like
Conveyor belts with
Yeah.
wheels. Yeah. I think those are more intermediate intermediate at least for conveyor belts. The wheels are just intermediate to the purpose of transport,
yeah.
the middleman of transport. And I think the wheels we're talking about are direct transport.
Yes.
But then yeah, we're getting into splitting hairs.
Why I didn't want to talk about doors versus wheels, because I've heard it a million times. And
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
You-
no, trust me. This is hurting me as much as it's hurting you. Trust me.
and you're the one who wanted to talk about it.
Yes, I am because it's the pain, my friend. Anyways, I definitely went with doors because I knew you were a wheels guy, and I went with doors just for the sake of argument.
Yeah. Are you actually a wheels guy?
I mean, I definitely wanted to go against the crowd when everyone was saying wheels, but upon me setting aside my desire to go against what everyone else says, wheels is definitely kind of the
Because if it's like an object that rotates on an axis, door handles.
yeah.
they
But I
don't-
mean, if we define a wheel as anything that rotates along an axis, doors are wheels,
essentially, yeah.
essentially. Yeah, by definition, by that definition alone.
You had screws or
Yeah, screws, nuts, bolts, gears.
it all
pulleys.
comes down to definition, and it's terrible.
Yeah. I know you told me it would be painful, and yes, I did it anyway. No, I'm not sorry for it.
You should be.
Alright. Well, I'm not, so. Ooh, favorite simple machine.
Favorite simple machine.
I'm a little rusty right now. What are the simple
think it's,
machine choices? Because there's the lever,
Lever, incline plane,
incline plane,
wedge,
wedge, screw, pulley, I believe.
I think so. Yeah. And it's 5.
5? Sure. Yeah. 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 An incline plane. Is an incline plane a wedge?
I want
Or-
to say yes, but they're technically both different things.
Oh, wheel and axle too.
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
Wheel and axle.
I think the wheel and axle get too much credit. You know,
Yeah.
because obviously they're definitely the most applied. No, they're not the most applied. Wheel and axle simple machines or screw simple machines. Which one is used more?
I don't know. Wedge and incline plane are different.
Well, yes, but no.
It's how they're used.
Yeah, it is how they're used. Because I mean, you can use an inclined plane as a wedge,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa. You can use a wedge as an inclined plane. But isn't a screw just a inclined plane wrapped around an axis at a set radius?
Probably. I don't know. I'm gonna say yes.
But then by that definition, we could also argue that a wheel and axle is also an inclined plane. Because there's slope. There's slope along the wheel. Or am I pushing the
I
boundary?
think you're definitely pushing the boundaries. What is your favorite simple machine?
I think my favorite simple machine has got to be the lever.
Not gonna like what I say.
I can tell.
I really like the lever too.
Okay. So if we can agree that both of our favorite simple machine is the lever, what type of lever?
I don't know. The big one.
Oh, jeez, that's well, okay. The one that increases mechanical advantage, the one that reduces mechanical advantage, or the one that has equal mechanical advantage.
Physics was so long ago. I believe it's the one that increases mechanical advantage. So like it makes it easier for the person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so mechanical advantage is like how much work you put in versus how much work is output.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a lever big enough where I can move the earth. With a big enough lever, I can do it.
All right. So let's say hypothetically, I told you about the cup. So
How long would the lever have to be for me to just push down on it?
well, I'm thinking you're gonna need more of a collision to impact. Otherwise, you're just gonna move that lever, and the Earth is gonna be your fulcrum. It's gonna need to be an actual impact.
So we'll use Jupiter. That's my fulcrum.
What? You realize if you get Jupiter and Earth anywhere near each other, they will collide.
Get a big enough lever. The lever's gonna already look at me. The lever's already gonna have to be like multiple light years long for like my scrawny little ass to move it at all.
All right.
You tell me I couldn't use another planet as the fulcrum?
Well, if you use it as the fulcrum, you get no mechanical advantage other than
Wait.
it's just a fulcrum.
Wait, no. Fulcrum is isn't that the point? Like
That it rotates about.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got a question from chat. How much force are we using for this? So when I was talking about the 1 kilogram cup, that's about 9.8 newtons.
Here, don't worry. We'll figure out how many newtons of force I output.
All right. Ooh.
I exert about 667 newtons.
667 newtons. All right. That's
Because I weigh about 68 kilograms times 9.81.
okay. So, all right. So, that being said, sorry, I'm trying to plug in my computer.
Lever formula. That's what I need.
Lever formula. So it's gonna be proportional to your distance from the fulcrum.
Mechanical advantage. Force applied. A split.
Oh, force of B divided by force of A divided by A over B. Or F times B over F times A divided by equals A divided by B. Okay. So the force for A for distance A would be the mass of the Earth. Which now when we take the mass of the Earth, we can't multiply times 9.81.
Yep.
Because that's internal gravity.
Yep.
So what are you leveraging this with respect to?
Okay, let's say hypothetically there's another planet I'm on about the same size as Earth, so I can be proportional.
Okay. Oh, force applied to force output equals the distance input force to fulcrum divided by distance output force to fulcrum. Okay, so the force is just proportional to your distance. So that means if it's 2 to 1, that means your force is going to be 2 to 1.
So how much force to move the Earth 1 meter?
To move it 1 meter.
How much force?
Oh, good lord. So the Earth is about, I believe, 8 times 10 to the 31 kilograms.
Okay.
All right. So now,
Wait, it's 5 point.
oh, 6 times 10 to the 24. Okay, yeah. I'm a little off.
Jupiter's not even that much. You're right. Jupiter's 10 to the 27th.
Okay.
10 to the 24th.
All right, so yeah, I was a little off, but that's okay. So, all right, so are we going to assume for the sake of the equation that gravity is 9.8?
Yes.
All right, that's basically 10 on this level. You know what? I don't like it, but for the sake of our argument, we're going to say G is equal to 10.
I got him. Finally got him.
He finally got me, chat. So 6 times 10 to the 24 becomes 6 times 10 to the 25
Yeah.
with gravity. So that's how much force you're gonna have to output. Okay. So, that being said, now take that 6 times 10 to the 25.
Yep.
And divide that by your weight in newtons.
Okay. And this is how long in meters?
This is going to be your ratio of how long the mechanical advantage side needs to be to have 1 meter on the other side.
Okay. Times 10 to the 25th. Divide by.
Okay. So that means for 1 meter,
Yeah.
so meaning that if the fulcrum of the earth, or like if your fulcrum was 1 meter long on the other side and you had the earth at the end of that 1 meter, your length of your mechanical advantage, assuming that weight was negligible, assuming the weight's negligible, it'd be 8.8 times 10 to the 22
Meters?
meters.
Give me a second. Just meters to.
Light years.
Yeah.
10 to the minus 16. Oh dear. He's putting it into his calculator. We're figuring this one out. Tick 2, I think would be the, or tick, it's gonna be cat.
Roughly 9 million light years.
9 million light years?
Yeah. Does that make me faster than light if I'm pushing down and the Earth moves up?
No, that wouldn't mean you're moving faster than the speed of light, because we're still under the presumption that you are under the effect of gravity that is equivalent to about 10 meters per second squared.
Yeah.
So that means you're not exactly going to have a velocity, but the amount of force that you need to displace, or to displace that.
So
much.
in 9 million years, the Earth would then just move a meter.
Yeah.
And everyone,
Nothing would happen. Like, it's only a meter.
well, if you try that also mean they just suddenly accelerated.
Yeah.
That also mean the perfectly straight material, whatever we were using,
Would have to be rigid.
it would be bending over time. And oh my!
Yeah, so assuming not only one, you can make a fulcrum, or make a lever that is 9 million light years long, but also make it strong enough to resist any force, or to resist the forces of, like, it breaking. And then also being able to make it 9 million light years out.
I'd really not want to be on the opposite end of that lever.
I wouldn't want to be on the opposite end of that lever either.
Oh hey, what's it? Gone.
But you also have to consider the amount of distance that you would have to move in order to give that angle of displacement. So now, what we could talk about. I'm gonna pull out my tablet. So, sorry, Chad, I can't share my screen with you on this one. So, in order to have 1 meter displace 1 meter, like we were talking about. Whoa, okay, this is the new whiteboard. I don't like it. Anyways,
How far would I have to move?
yeah, that's kind of what I want to know. So you have your you have your fulcrum here. Okay. Then you have the Earth here. This is 1 meter. Then we're just gonna say that this is 9 million light years. And how long is 9 million light years in meters?
Like to the 28 times whatever to the 22nd,
8 times 10 to the 22nd?
something like that.
8 times 10 to the 22. Okay. So if you have a meter and you want to displace it a meter, you'd have to rotate that 60 degrees. So which means not only would you have to travel the 9 million light years to get out there, but you would also have to go 9 million light years down in order to make that leverage change.
I could do that.
That means you'd be applying that force at acceleration is 9.81 for that distance.
Am I gonna keep accelerating?
You would keep accelerating.
So how long would it take me?
Well, how long does it take someone accelerating at 10 meters per second to go to 9 million light years? Or how long does it take them? So assuming that your initial velocity is 0, that is equal to your acceleration times time.
It's 1/2 acceleration time.
Or your distance is your it's the distance equation.
Yeah. So it's 1/2 acceleration time squared, assuming initial velocity is 0.
Okay, so set excuse me, 9 million light years. 9 million light years times 2, so 18 million light years. Divide by 10, so 1.8 million light years. Divide by, and then take the square root of that.
Yeah. So just give me a second.
So whatever the square root of 1.8 million is.
Oh, you're still in light years. I'm doing this in meters. You can't. I don't know if you can do that because the distance formula is for
Oh.
meter. Because our acceleration is in meters per second, and you're converting.
Oh yeah,
light
that's
years.
right. That's right. That's
I
right.
was like,
That's right.
how are you getting these numbers?
Yeah, my units are off. Man, I'm the engineering major here. Wow.
Okay. Second. So divide by 1/2 or multiply by 2. Divide by 10. Square root. Or
Here, you want me to tell you in hours? Actually, I think it's best if I tell you in probably years.
How many years?
$4,008 years.
4,008 years in order to
Get to the bottom.
to displace the Earth that much. To displace the Earth 1 meter.
Yeah.
So
I got time.
yeah, I suppose we do have time.
it's fall for 8,000 years.
4,000 years. Oh.
4,000 years of falling. But that's also assuming you don't hit terminal velocity.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. I'm falling with the lever.
But but also this
No, we ignore air resistance, remember?
But what about space resistance? Across 9 million light years, you have at least two planets that you might end up colliding with.
They're gone. They just don't exist.
Yeah, that's right. Earth is the only one to exist. Why?
What's wrong? Only 9 million light years.
Yeah. Do we even have 9 million light years worth of material?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. But, like, you never know.
You never know.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, chat. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to wrap it up for our first debut episode of a podcast, the podcast about stuff. I think you could expect the next episode either on Thursday or in one of the following weeks. That'll be a little more kind of just whatever, but just a reminder, I do have these streams scheduled now. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, American, until basically whenever. Probably 10, that's kind of my goal. So, yeah. So we'll be ending the stream off here pretty quick. I'll probably take a short intermission, take a quick little break, get some water, get some food, and then I'll probably pop back into a stream and we can do some gaming. All right. So I guess for you viewers here, if you haven't done it already, please drop a follow. I'm trying to work towards becoming a Twitch affiliate. And also, if you're interested, join the Discord channel. It's still in its youngling ages right now, but we're working on that. We're improving it. And yeah, I mean, that's really all I got. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more the podcast about stuff.